Good evening, good evening. Welcome to Momentum Chat. I am S.H.A.P.E, your financial conductor. And
And I am John Epstein Jr. Good to be with y'all again today.
absolutely, man, we're going to have an exciting conversation tonight. So let a friend know, share this, like it. We definitely want you to tune in because today we're going to be talking about discernment and finding your lane. All right. We want to know, how do you know what to do? Like what you should be doing. So if you want to find out a little bit more, stay tuned. We'll be started in just a moment. Good evening, good evening. Welcome again to Momentum Chat. I am S.H.A.P.E, your financial conductor, and I'm joined as always by my esteemed colleague and mentor, Mr. John Epstein Jr., senior financial broker with over 20 years of experience in the financial services industry. And today we're going to shift the conversation away from finances specifically, right? But I'm sure we'll throw in a little bit here and there. But we're really going to talk about discernment, right? So last week we talked about clarity, right? Just having clarity in your vision and what you want from life, knowing what you want, why you want it, and what you're willing to do to get it. And I want to continue that conversation a little bit tonight with tonight's topic, John, about discernment. And so, just real quick, before we get started, let me know how would you define discernment?
Knowing what's for you and what's not for you, knowing who you should deal with, who you shouldn't deal with. Just it's almost like a gut feeling, if you will. But it's not just feelings, right? Feelings may be the start, but then there's probably some logic to back that up as well. And sometimes your discernment doesn't make sense logically. Every once in a while, it doesn't make sense logically, right? But there's some things that's wrapped up in who you are that makes sense. Maybe for you, might not make sense for everyone else. So I think that's my easiest way of giving.
No, I love that. Knowing what to do and what not to do, knowing what's for you and what's not for you. I think that's a great way to define discernment. And I think that's important. Like we've talked a lot about knowing yourself and, doing things that resonate with you, having a purpose and passion and a vision for your life. And I think the culture that we live in, though, John, it definitely, would you say that it encourages a herd mentality, right? I've been hearing that a lot, of course, with the current climate, right? This herd mentality that like everybody should be doing the same thing. And can you speak to that a little bit? Like this idea that we should all be doing the same things, or we should be all thinking the same way.
Here's the deal too. We gotta give a caveat to this because everybody who's passionate about something think everybody should be passionate about it. especially if it's some type of philanthropic type of thing.
Yeah.
Right? For example, everyone who cares about the animals believe everybody should care about the pets, right?
Okay.
And this is funny to me because my wife comes from a third world country where nobody had a pet, like a pet dog or a cat. Those things, they just roam the streets and they ate whatever they could find, right? In the United States, that's weird. Like what? We have to adopt them. Right? And so my wife laughs about that because she believes she wants a dog. She doesn't want a dog, but they think they want a dog, right? But my wife is like, it's going to be an outside dog. Like he'll never come in the house. And I'm like, in the United States, we don't do it that way. So when you think about it, all of us who have a passion, we believe everybody should have that same passion. But here's the facts. God didn't even design us all to have the same passion. So me placing my passions on someone else is just inappropriate. It's wrong, right? No matter what that is. Now, do I believe there's good things and bad things and stuff like that? But my standard isn't mine. It comes from a higher power. It comes from a higher quality. right? So some people will say, oh, this is wrong or this is wrong. And I just noticed if all of us don't have the same standard, we all gonna think every different things are wrong or right, right? And,
Yeah.
And that's where things can get really interesting in finding this stuff out. I said this on a talk we did not too long ago that Rick Warren. So Rick Warren has this Pastor Rick Warren Saddleback Church out there in California, and he wrote I think it's the best-selling book of all time, other than the Bible, Purpose-Driven Life. And one of the things he talks about is your shape, how you were shaped to be something, right? Shaped, right? S.H.A.P.E, right? And it stands for spiritual gifts, right? Your heart, your abilities, your passions, and your experiences. That's what moves you. That's how you can kind of figure out, discern what's for you. Like, what are you here for? Sometimes we just got to pause and like, what am I here for? Why am I still here? All right. I'm going to be 50 soon. So that, believe it or not, that question has been ringing in my head a lot. Like, am I doing what I'm called to be doing? Am I moving in the right direction? And every time I ask, thank God, I get the answer of yes, through other people, through just other stuff. But it took me a long time to get here. It took me a long time I knew nothing about S.H.A.P.E. I knew nothing about that stuff. It was just, I was kind of like blindly going through this little path. So I'm sorry I started rambling, but
no.
Having discernment is a big deal. And I've been lucky that because I figured out my shape, if you will, it's so much easier to discern what I should be involved in and what I shouldn't be involved in. It's so much easier. Like, once you figure out, like we talked about last week, what do you want? Why do you want it? What are you willing to do sacrifice to get it, right? That's part of your shape, right? But once you figure that out, no, saying the word no is no problem. You have no problem telling people no. You have no problem telling them you ain't gonna be there. I ain't gonna make that. You wishy-washy people who haven't figured this out yet, they'll say, yeah, I'm gonna try to make it. I'm gonna try. Not us.
Yeah.
We'll look at our calendar and be like, nope, can't do that one.
Right.
Not in. And it's so bad, we walk away. I've literally done this. I'm like, oh, no, can't do that. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be helping this people. I'm going to be doing this. Boom, 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 boom. Literally walked away, got in my car, drove off. And I was down the street before I realized, man, that probably looked insensitive. And I can't tell you how many times some nonprofit has asked me to be on the board or do something with it. You know, I'm a financial guy, so of course, donate money, whatever the case may be. And I listen to the calls, and the calls is good, but it doesn't take long into their spiel till I'm like, nope, not supposed to be involved. Right? And I let them finish because I'm also a coach. So I let them finish, and then I give them some tips on their sales pitch. Now, some people that a nonprofit should have a sales pitch. You better.
You want money from people.
You better. Matter of fact, you better have one better than the salesperson who's selling a product. You better. Right? At least the person who buys a product gets something at the end. But them just donating to your cause. People are always looking to find out what's in it for them. Yeah. So if you have a church, yes, I'm talking to the people who go to church and you want people to give money to the church. I know why I give money to the church, but the people you be approaching don't know. And most of them don't care. So you better have a good sales pitch. So I coach them on their sales pitch. I coach them, hey, you probably should do this a little bit better. And I just did this. Like, it was so recent, it was ridiculous. Right? Somebody else was talking to me about legal stuff. Right? And great attorney, just in case he watches this, great attorney sucked at sales. And see, and that's a problem in our world because people think the accountant, the attorney, the pastor believes that because they just have this knowledge and they're the doctor. Like, my doctors have to sell to me why they're prescribing me a medication. Like she better. I think she figured it out. I noticed she works her way up to it. Like, because I'm a blaster. She knows it. I'm gonna blast you. Don't. Have you prescribed a diet to me? Have you prescribed this stuff to me before you? Right. So she works her way up, and I got another one at the VA, and even him, right? His broken accent and everything. They know to sell it to me.
Yeah.
Right? Just
what
because
was the
you
last
have a knowledge attorney, CPA, accountant, whoever you are, that doesn't mean people should do business with you. I have mad knowledge in the financial industry. I still got to sell myself.
It's true.
And I'm not selling a product. Me. People don't buy my product. They don't buy my company. They buy me. That's the facts. Once I figured that out, stuff rolls smoother for me. Matter of fact, I complimented the young lady who, so my wife and I went out on a date night with another couple Friday night. So we went to the shooting range, right? Probably let go of 100 rounds or so. Then went out to this restaurant. I won't mention what the restaurant was. Great restaurant though. It was our first time there. As long as this restaurant's been there, our first time there. It was amazing. But what was cool, our waitress was a straight saleswoman. And she closed us on 2 different things. Like upsold us, closed us, got us to be a part of some wine club. And my wife and I are like, so the other couple, they're not catching none of this. But my wife and I, because we've been in business so long, right, we're catching it. The little lady leaves. My wife goes, yo, that was good. Like, like we giving her props. It's like, right. So then I throw some objections just to see if she knows how to overcome some objections. Boom. When I was like, we joined in the club just because. Right? I mean, it'll cost me nothing. I think the stupid wine club's like $38 a month or something, but we get 2 bottles of wine or something. I don't know. But anyway, but that's a thing. But see, that young lady figured out her shape. You see what I'm saying? I don't know if that was a skill or a gift, but whichever it was, she got me. And think about it. She got me, and I'm constantly paying attention to it. How many of you could she get?
Yeah.
I did it out of professional courtesy. It was like, I was impressed. I was like, damn.
What was the last part of
That's all.
Yeah, but you got to respect it. What was the last part of SHAPE? I got spiritual gifts, heart, abilities, passions, and
experiences.
What was it? Experiences. Okay. I just wanted to share that.
Life experiences play a part in your shape. I lost 2 children. I've lost 2 children. You don't think that played a part in my shape?
Absolutely.
I had a failed marriage before this incredible marriage, but I had a failed marriage. You don't think that played a part in my shape? Matter of fact, the marriage I have today is only because I went through that first one.
Yeah.
It's part of my shape. Now, mind you, went through major challenges in this marriage. Major challenges. A lesser man would not still be with, right? You hear that? Yes, I said that. A lesser man. I'm greater. Right? Because we stuck it out. We fought it through. We did what we needed to do. People think relationships are so hard. They're not hard. Right? I just heard Chris Rock say that, and I posted it on my Instagram. Relationships aren't hard. It's a lot easier to move a couch when it's 2 of you. If both of y'all working, it ain't hard. And I ain't talking about working outside the house. I'm talking about working on the relationship.
Yeah.
Right? Or better yet, working in the relationship.
That's good.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But your shape plays a part, and I think it definitely correlates with your level of discernment of what you should be involved in, what you shouldn't be. Now, don't get me wrong, it's still certain things I just step out there, give that money to that. Right? Because I can afford it and, whatever, help them, help a family member, whatever it is. Right? But if it's going to take my time, money is one thing. But if it's going to take my time, my discernment is on, like, the light is like,
yeah.
right? Money.
Whatever. Yeah. You can always make more money, but you can't make more time.
Sure can't. I don't know if I'm gonna get another 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? But I can make another 100 grand. I don't know if God's gonna give me another 30 minutes. And that's the bad thing. He don't tell you how much time you get.
That's true.
So I gotta use all these, man.
I hear Eric Thomas, like, he's intentional right now. He just turned 50, I think, last year, and he's like, I got 18,200 and X, Y, Z number of days left, right? Like, he got 50 years. He just want 50 more years, to enjoy with his family, experiences, all that stuff. And he good, but he's intentional. He talked about, like, having, thinking about death and doing life activities,
at
right?
the same time. Yes.
Yeah. And I recently shared on accountability call in part of that community that, I finalized my trust plan. And matter of fact,
you got the binder?
I've been showing it. Yeah, it's right there.
Got the binder?
Yeah.
Yeah,
the Bay
man,
Family
the
Trust.
The binder is a pretty big deal.
And but it's thinking about death, but it's a life activity, right, to prepare for that. And how did you, in terms of what you do in finance, like, how did you discern that this was the path that you were supposed to be on?
When in leadership, let me tell you a little secret. It's the best leaders, I believe, right? And I don't think I'm the best, but I know I'm a damn good one. The best leaders, we just saw a wrong that needed righting. We saw something that needed to be done, and we thought to ourselves, if we don't do it, it ain't gonna get done.
Okay.
But then also there was a passion. Okay, I was a 29-year-old kid in the Navy, had already made quite a bit of money in my 20s with an ex-spouse who was in the military. I was in the military, right? Businesses, side hustles, blah, 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 right? We divorced, really look up financially. I had nothing to show for it. I got introduced to something, tried to run away from it for a while. But then once I finally took the time to sit down, I was intrigued.
Yeah.
Kind of pissed off and intrigued at the same time. Pissed off I didn't know this already, right? But intrigued now that it's coming to me. And then it just became I wanted to learn. But then I found out that I had a gift of teaching it. So not only was I learning it, I could take the complicated financial jargon stuff that blah, 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 that, right? The rookie financial advisors, and I'm talking about guys probably been in the industry 30 years, right? I still call them rookies because they still haven't, if you can't explain it to a 4-year-old, you don't understand it yourself. That's my true belief. If I can't explain this to an elementary school student, I don't understand it. It's just how I think, right? So it's easy to explain some of this stuff to a 60-year-old today. That was easy.
Yeah.
Right? Especially somebody who already had money, who already did some things, has, done pretty well for himself already. And all I'm doing is helping him enhance it.
Yeah.
Right? But I found out that there was a gift, but then I saw there was a huge need. Like, financial literacy is not taught. Like, to this day, we do not teach enough in high school. Like, my daughter is in Algebra 2 right now, right? I think I'm right. Algebra 2, right? So my wife was going over some stuff with her, and I walked by where they were sitting doing this, and I'm listening to this, and I'm like, why are they even teaching this? She's never using this again. Ever.
Yeah.
Ever. Right? That'd be different if this was part of some academy that she wanted to do this for a living, right? There's some, stuff, you get what I'm saying. She never using this again. But they're not teaching credit. They're not teaching how to do a budget, that's the stuff we should be teaching them. And I'm not talking about high school. We should be starting that stuff in junior high.
Yeah.
In junior high. That's the stuff we should be teaching. Yet, and of course, I have an idea why they don't teach you, but right, it's really for us to be under control of the government. Like, it doesn't even make sense to me. So once I learned this stuff at 29 years old, I saw the need just in my sphere of influence, just in the military. And then it branched out of there because I got referred to a lot of people who just weren't military, right?
Yeah.
But my heart was for the military. My heart was like, man, if all of our people who go over here and do this, and I know what it's like to leave our families and go to Haiti in 1995 and be a part of that conflict, and be in Somalia and I know that stuff, and I know what it's like to you may be a military person, soldier, sailor, airman, marine, out and about doing what we do for our country, yet your family's struggling back home because you're in E2, you're in E3, right? And if we can just give them some knowledge, give them some help. So I know it's a long way of me saying, but that's what drove me. It drove me to be there. Most people think I got in the financial, and it's the highest paid industry in the world, finances, right? But that's not why I joined the industry.
Right.
It's not even why I'm still here. It's to teach people. It's I don't know. It's, Well, I want to joking Sunday. It's like I've been semi-retired for the last year and a half, but I can't leave it. It's so many people still need my help, and then I'm on a Zoom today, and and to see this young man, I say young man, he's 60 years old, but to see his face light up it's almost like I gave him hope. He already has money. If he never met me, he'd be okay, right? But for him to see, dang, it could be, I could do that much more, right? And he just did the right things. He was disciplined. He lived way below his means. He did the right things, right? And but it's fun to share that stuff with him. Fun to help this other young lady who I'm working with right now, and it's really cool to work with people like this because I'm not really selling them on anything anyway. They're like the young lady, one of the companies I'm trying to send her to, she's they didn't want to accept all of her money, right? The amount that she wanted to put. So it was so fun, right? And she was like, "Oh no, I want to put all of that, and I want to." And it was like, right? I remember when I was a rookie in the game, that's not the type of clients I had. I would tell them, "Hey, you need to do this," and they were like, "Can I do half that?"
Yeah.
Two totally different worlds, man. But I see why these two families are where they are, vice the other families. And what's the difference? Financial literacy.
Yeah.
These people understand the value because they've already lived their lives a little bit too. So it's just interesting. But that's how I ended up in the business, and then I just saw a way for me to help other people do what I do and get to my level, and yeah.
And I want to piggyback on that because even me working in this industry now, going on 10 years, I know my niche, if you will. I think I can never pronounce that word right. Niche or niche or whatever, right?
Who cares?
My niche, right?
It's your show. You can say it the way you want to.
My niche is helping people with the protection, that foundation, right? Like, because I understand that that's where they need to start, right? Like, start with the thinking about death and do the life activities to prepare you for death, right? Because that's a given, right? Like, that's going to happen. So reverse engineer, figure out, okay, when I die, what do I want to have left behind? How do I want to leave my families? Right. And so if I can help people get that in place and then build on that with the debt elimination and an emergency fund, and then put the, investing icing on the cake, then great. But it's like, I found that's my niche. I don't need to be, the budgetnista or the financial advisor of the year, and in the stocks and mutual funds, like that don't even interest me. I want to make sure your foundation is straight. I want to make sure you have an estate plan to preserve your estate, right? Like those things is just like everybody can do it. It's simple, right? I'm not really that smart. Don't let the engineering degree fool you, right? Like I'm practical. Like what makes sense is to put certain things in place to protect you, anticipate the things that could happen and prepare for them. And so in discerning like what makes sense, I've been in other businesses before, network marketing, and other opportunities have been presented to me, but it's like none of them have made the kind of practical sense. And I'm a practical person, so that aligns with my shape, like you talked about.
That's very true.
right? All right, I'm a practical person, so practical steps. And as I'm maturing and recognizing certain things about myself, my gift, I would say it's a gift, is knowing that the action step, right? Like that's what really has set me apart. Like I take action and I do the thing. I'm not good at like explaining a bunch of stuff. I can show you better than I can tell you. So let me show you what I've learned that makes sense and model that for other people. And so that's how I discern what's for me and what's not. If it requires a whole lot of like thinking and explaining, like no, if it's simple, I can do it. If it's not, I shouldn't be doing it. That's for the geniuses. That's for the really smart people. I'll let them stay in that lane. I'm gonna stay in mine. And I think it's important for people to recognize like who you are. Um, and as you grow, you get older, and you study yourself. I think that's really important. As you study yourself and get to know yourself better, like figuring out, like I'm figuring out more and more. Like I need to do things at a pace, right? Like I can't rush into stuff, right? Because when I rush into stuff, I get myself in trouble. I can't move quickly. I gotta move slow, and that's okay. Because with the slow pace that I've been moving, I've done all right. It's worked out for me, and that slow pace is what will resonate with other people who move at a slow pace, right? Not everybody's meant to be, on a jet or, moving 100 miles an hour, but that's knowing yourself, and that helps you to discern. So I really like that acronym for SHAPE, in understanding what to discern, right? When people offer me opportunities, like I'll listen just out of courtesy or out of respect for that individual. But a lot of times it's just like I'm not interested because I know what is for me, right? What I'm supposed to be doing. And so, can you speak a little bit to distinguishing? Right, I spoke to a little bit about that. Like, am I just stubborn? Like, I just want to keep things the way they are and stay in my lane and not really, put blinders on. I don't think it's complete blinders, but to some degree, it's like there's so many opportunities out there, and people fear missing out on stuff. And so every time something new pops up, they think that, oh, I need to jump into that, or I need to jump into this. So can you help those who may be listening either now or later on, in distinguishing whether what shows up, right? If you're not prepared for it, then you can't take advantage of it anyway.
Yeah.
So how can a person prepare themselves to know what's really for them?
Yeah. Success is opportunity plus preparation. You do have to be prepared if you want to be successful when an opportunity comes, right? So you should always be constantly working on you. And that's whether we're talking about business or even relationships, right? I deal with a lot of people who are jumping into relationships and stuff like that, and they want my insight, and they want to, we know a young lady who's going through a divorce yet has a new boyfriend already, right? So now, good thing about her, she's super young, right? Still in her really, really early 20s, right? So it's like, yeah, whatever. Right? But so she hasn't had time to date her. She doesn't know her, right? And a lot of people jump into stuff because they don't even know themselves. So what does that mean? Yeah. When the right opportunity comes, you don't know if it's for you. Yeah. You're not ready, right? And some people believe, oh, and I'm speaking on relationships for a second. Some people believe, oh, there's this one right person for me. That doesn't even make sense. That doesn't make biblical sense, right? But that's not true. It's not true, right? I know it's a lot of, no, that's true. No. And you ever heard that people say this phrase, well, what's for me is for me? That's not true. That's not true. Matter of fact, it's not biblical either. Thank God I know the scriptures very well, right? It's not biblical either. Okay, think about this. If it's only one person, God created one person that will fit you. That means all we need is one person to screw it up. Marry the wrong one. And now it's going to be a trickle effect throughout the whole world. Are you kidding me? You got to be slow to even think that, right? Oh my gosh. Now, I love my wife. And I really do believe he built her for me. Like, nobody else could put up with me like her. Nobody else. The rest of y'all too weak. Y'all you couldn't even handle me, right? I'm a hot mess. Listen, right? And My wife has never said a cuss word to me in 21 years. You understand? My wife has only raised her voice, and her raising her voice, it's such a joke. It's not even raising her voice. It's like
her
like
pitch
calling me to
changes.
dinner. Really, it's like, babe, come eat, right? She's done that 3 times. 3 in 21 years, right? The rest of y'all ain't got that kind of temperament. Right? And she's not weak by no means. My wife could walk in this room, give me a look, and I could write 3 pages on what she just said. You won't have a clue what she said. I've been with her for 21 years. I know exactly what she just said, and she was serious about that. Right? So I believe she was built for me, but that's not true. What's for me is for me. You lying? No. Even in scripture, there was guys who were called to do something, and out of fear, they didn't do it, and God gave that task to somebody else, and that other guy got blessed for it. You better wake up.
Yep.
Right? So in discerning, my story. So I started in the financial industry, boom, boom, boom. I started to work it, right? Quit the Navy, decided to build a business. Okay. I saw a need. I saw a passion. But then it became almost a ministry. Right? Here's the funny thing about that. In my past, so I work in the financial industry. Stay with me. I work in the financial industry. I have to know this stuff in order to help somebody across my desk, across the kitchen table. Right? But here's the funny thing. I sucked at money myself. Like sucked, like horrible at money. So you want to be good at something? Teach it. You gotta get good. Unless you're gonna, do what everybody on social media is doing, faking. Right? Yeah, you gotta get good. Right? So I went from horrible, right? Has filed bankruptcy in my life, has lost a home before in my life, right? To now hundreds of millions of dollars. People, like, come on, really? All right? That will help you figure out your shape a little bit too. What do you suck at?
Yeah.
What did you have a challenge? I ain't gonna say suck. What did you have a challenge with in your past? And maybe, just maybe, God wants to use that very thing that you think happened to you to happen for you. And then it turned around and be your ministry. Let me give you another one. Horrible first marriage. Horrible first marriage. I stayed in it too long because I'm just not a quitter. Right? But horrible first marriage. Now my wife and I help couples in their marriage. Huh? Like people, I can't. It's almost not a day go by somebody don't ask me about some type of relationship advice, whether it be about communicating, about dating their spouse, right? Because I always talk about how I still date my spouse. I don't have date nights. I date her. I'm still doing the stuff that I did when we were dating, right? I didn't stop because now don't get me wrong, there's been ebbs and flows in our relationship too, right? So there was some dry spells and stuff like that, and I had to turn it back on and like, what the heck are you doing, John? Stupid, right? Not because I was in fear of losing her, simply because she deserves it. I shouldn't show her a product in the beginning and then not deliver on that product. That doesn't make sense. You would want to take that product back to the store, yes? You would call the warranty company, yes or no?
Absolutely.
Okay. So hopefully people are getting some insight from what I'm saying here, because I'm helping you on so many levels here, right? But the types of things, once you figure out some of that stuff, your shape comes together. You kind of know what you shouldn't be involved in. That's not me. And right, it's stuff I used to be involved in. I'm not involved in anymore. Why? I'm a man.
Yeah.
Right. It's just certain things. It's just certain things. I don't know.
And I think that comes from a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset, right? When you're constantly growing and evolving and changing, right? And that's normal, then certain things you have to let go of, right? Like I'm not the same person I was a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, right? I've constantly grown and changed and matured. And so the decisions that I make are based on my experiences and different opportunities and things that I've learned about myself. And so as I get better, I do better, right? As I learn more, I apply it so that I get a different outcome. And so
That's called maturity. That's just called
yeah.
maturity, right? And so I remember you were just talking to me not too long ago, actually, like minutes ago before we got on here, about because we get approached by a lot of opportunities, right?
Yeah.
And people are always talking to us about something, right? And it doesn't make any of them bad. Like I'm trying to make a decision on one right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, somebody showed me, right? And but like I said earlier, it all depends on your shape, and I believe your shape sometimes plays in part into your value system too, like what's
Mm-hmm.
important to you, right? Like right
Absolutely.
now, my time is super important to me, especially when it comes to my wife, my daughter.
Yeah.
Specifically, my daughter. My wife and I have a level of freedom that's kind of not fair, right? I did take like so my wife actually has a job now, which is kind of weird for us, our family, but so she works 3 days a week somewhere, but this is her passion and she loves doing this. But she's gonna be off for 3 days, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I left the house at I go work out at 5:30, come back, take a shower, and then I shot over to my dealership, drop my car off, right? So I've been out of the house a whole day. She's right. Matter of fact, she just texted me. I didn't look to see what she said, but she just texted me. But I've been away from her, right? Which is kind of weird for us. We don't really like that, but I had clients I wanted to see, right? And it's my call. All those
Mm-hmm.
clients they definitely would have came another day or something if I wanted them to, right? And then I have a new guy in my organization, so my time is super important, right? But where does that come from? That comes from my value system,
Mm-hmm.
right? First of all, I'm not chasing money, right? Also, I don't have to, so that's the fair part about that. But I'm not chasing money. And right now, my daughter is probably, I love my wife, but my time with my daughter is the most important right now.
Yeah.
Because she's 16, we're in a grooming stage where she's going to be leaving soon.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to make sure she got the skills, the knowledge, the things she needs, at least a good foundation
Mm-hmm.
to go do what she goes and does. She'll graduate, we'll backpack through Europe for 3 weeks, and then well, the van life thing is still up in the air, right? So what she's gonna do with that, that's on her. That's on her. It's not my call. It's her call, right? I'm just gonna be there to support, and then if she goes to college, that's her. And whatever we're here. But right now I got to pay attention to that, right? And just the fact that she don't mind spending time. And I got a 16-year-old daughter who don't mind spending time with her dad. Like I gotta hold on to this right here. Even though she's still super moody, you're right, mad attitude and stuff, right? It's cool that she'll come downstairs and want to chat with me and tell me about this thing she built a computer from scratch. She just out of the blue just went on Amazon, ordered every part. Hey, right, all of those types of things. So,
hey, Mr. John.
Hey, but when it comes to like you, right, you got your daughter next to you. It's really about the values in which you hold dear right now in this season of your life. In this season, there's going to be different seasons.
Right.
I'm so happy that when my daughters were little, right, I was able to grind and do it right. And I think many parents get it all mixed up. Oh, I'm gonna miss their first birthday. They're not gonna remember you missed that. They don't even know you weren't there. Seriously.
Yeah.
But let me tell you when they're gonna need you. When they're 13, 14, 11, right? They're being bullied in school, or they get their first crush. When little girls have their, when they get their cycle, right?
Mm.
Where are you gonna be there? And I'm
Yeah.
so glad my wife and I were there. My wife, when Jessie had, came into womanhood, if you will, we were there, right? It's gonna sound weird, but I'm confident in who I am. I just ordered her monthly stuff the other day, right? Because I pay attention to stuff, and I found a deal on this particular brand that they use. Well, one of them used. And I sent them a picture through our little family group. And my daughter was like, yeah, you get those. Oh, my gosh. Right. And the price was so freaking cheap. Right. But I'm so glad that she even, most little girls wouldn't even talk about that to their dad. And that's not the tragic part. The tragic part is most dads don't want to hear it. Man, if your daughter wants to talk to you about stuff, man,
listen.
Like, take that in. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm sorry. That was just me ranting, I guess. But yeah, I guess you and I are a lot alike, because it's not that we're stubborn though. Right? We're just smart enough to discern what opportunities we should take advantage of and which ones we can't. And I think we're at a place in our life, I know I am, that I will only take advantage of opportunities that don't take away from my time.
Yeah.
If I can hire somebody else to go do that and pay them really well so they never quit, okay.
No, that's huge. That's huge, because and that's important, right? I've talked to, when I'm meeting a new client or a prospect, and I talk to them like, time is your most valuable asset, right? Not just in terms of finances, but in life. And so how we invest our time, right? Ensuring that we're not wasting it, right? Not just spending it, but investing it. And that's something that I've definitely become a lot more hyper aware of. Even in terms of I shared this on a show we did this past Friday. My brother's like, are people from your job watching? Right? Like, it's at a point now where like, I know what's a priority for me. In the next month, my daughter's gymnastics schedule is going to change. She's got to be at practice 3 days a week. And I'm choosing to make that investment in her future, right? Wherever it goes, hey, I'm not really concerned about, but it's a value, right? Her experiences, her life is of value to me. And so I prioritize it. And it's not a question of, is the job more important? Yes, it provides, it pays the bills, but it takes away time that I could be investing more with my children.
Absolutely.
And my children are more of a priority. And so, I think sometimes we get this fixed mindset, go get a job, or go to school, get good grades, get a good job, keep your head down. And then you look up 40 years later and you wonder what happened to your life because you're not paying attention, right? We say we value certain things. We say things are important to us, but does our calendar, does our bank account reflect it, right? I don't whatever it costs. I was sharing with somebody the other day, like the math, right? And as she moves up in different levels, right, it could cost like a car note, right? It costs a car note now on a monthly basis for her to get the training, right, and the coaching. And as she moves up to different levels, that cost increases, right? So it can move up to where it's like a mortgage payment every month. Now, like, people will say, oh, I'm not willing to, but like, you brought these children into the world, and what do you feel as a parent your responsibility of, right? That's part of discernment as well. As a parent, what is your responsibility in rearing and being a steward of the children that you've been blessed with? So, those are the things that I discern, like, all right, and when my children come to me and, they want to spend quality time and they want me to cancel, my daughter said, cancel one of my jobs. But I'm like, we can't do that just yet if you want to stay in gymnastics. And she understood, right?
Right.
And so having those conversations, but having a relationship with her is a priority for me, right? Being able to have those conversations and having that open dialogue so that as she gets older, right, she feels comfortable coming to me, and it's not like mommy's always working and mommy doesn't have time, right? Like, if that's a challenge and I think, families are like the cornerstone, right? The building blocks of our country, right? Sure. But we spend most of our time away from our families. We're not doing things together. We're not investing that time intentionally to build something as a family. We're going to a job every day, and then we get home, we're too tired to invest time with our family, and that's not fair to our families. Right. And so discerning what opportunities are for you, if it's pulling you away from the things that you say are of value to you and that are a priority for you, you need to check it at the gate and figure out, really, take the time. And I think that's what the thing is. Most people don't take the time to just sit down and discern what's of value to them, right? What's a priority? Like, what do you want in life? Like we talked about last week. And so
some people's values are based on what somebody else told them their value should be.
absolutely.
And like, for example, you and I are talking about how family is a value, but believe it or not, it might be some people who watch this, their family is not a value. All right. And if that's not your deal, I'm not trying to push something on you, but I mean, you got to figure that out for yourself. And then sometimes we contradict ourselves, right? Because, you know, I work in the financial industry. So guess one silly phrase I hear all the time. Well, money's not that important. Yet you go spend 40, 60 hours a week away from your family. You say your family's important, but you go spend 40, 60 hours a week for money. Why? To take care of your family.
Mm-hmm.
So which one is it for real? Right? What's of value here? Right? And like I said a little bit ago, right? It's really, and there's also seasons involved in what I'm talking about, right? There was a season when I needed to bust it here 18 hours a day, right? And that's just really the truth. Like, I literally remember this wasn't my office. My office was a little bit further down the hall back then. And I remember I was training this young man by the name of S.H.A.P.E. And I remember I came in one morning at 6 a.m. for a 6:30 a.m. appointment. And I didn't leave. I didn't leave until, I remember the time, it was 12:44 a.m. in the morning when I left. I ran that many appointments. I was in it, right? Now, that was some time ago. But my point is that was a season in my life where that's where that needed to be.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm definitely not in that season no more. Right? Now, here's the funny thing about seasons, right? Some of y'all ain't going to get this until later. God created your seasons. God creates the seasons, but you schedule them. It's up to you how long spring is. It's up to you how long summer is. It's up to you how long fall is or how long winter is. God creates our seasons, but we schedule them, right? And the faster we learn, the faster we don't make the same mistakes. You know, if you make a mistake, God will make you kind of retest, if you will.
Yep.
And depending on what the situation is, that test could be a year. That test could be 5 years. I remember one of my tests was 3 years. Right? And I failed it twice. Listen to me. So, right? And but I need to be where I am today in relationships, period. I had to pass that test.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not mad about it, right? And I probably appreciate it more because it took me so long to get past it.
Yeah. And I think that's another part of discernment is embracing the process, right? Respecting the process or the journey to get to where you want to go. You know, in this fast-paced society, everybody thinks they're supposed to have a microwave solution.
Yep.
And even like you said, God creates the seasons, but you schedule them, right? Like you still have to allocate time for that season.
Got you. Yeah.
Like you can't skip the seasons, right? Unless you live in San Diego, right? Like they don't have any seasons. It's the same season all year. But you know, you can't skip the
that's
season.
so unfair. That is so unfair.
Right. But most seasons you have to go through winter, you have to go through spring, you have to go through summer, right? You gotta reap. I'm sorry, you have to sow before you reap, right? You gotta plant before you can harvest.
Those are universal principles.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody asked me actually today about, I have it on my wall, 17 success principles, and I don't remember where I got it from, but I like printed them on like 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper, laminated it, and put it around the wall where I lived before, and then I like uncovered it when I moved, and then I'm like, let's put those back up. But one of the last one is using cosmic habit force or natural law, right? It's aligning with the way things are designed by the universe, by the creator, like whatever you believe in, right? There's an order to things. And when you try to go against the grain, right, or you like the salmon and swim upstream, you make things more difficult because you're not aligned with the natural law. You're not aligned with those universal principles. And so that's another part of discernment, right? Like you can't rush the process, right? You can't jump to the result without doing the work. And the more we can realize that like the grass is never greener, right? Like one of our mentors says, right, they just water their grass or they paint the grass.
You know
It's
what
not
I
green.
figured out? And I just figured this out this week, right? Because, like I say, people are always approaching you with an opportunity or something, right? Right. Oh, the grass is greener on another side, right? Especially in the financial industry, always trying to recruit you. They don't mess with me as much because I've been at the same firm for 20 years. So they're just kind of like, okay, you're right. But rookies, 2-3 years, only been around, especially if they don't know nothing, if they don't know their product lines, they don't know their stuff, right? They can easily be poached because everybody can say, oh, we have the best product. Here's the fact: there is no best product. It depends on the person. That's just a fact. There is no best product, right? But I figured this out this week. I know it's going to sound weird, but I figured it out this week. You know what the facts are? Wherever I am, the grass is green. You know why? Because I know how to take care of my lawn. That's just the facts. Some people don't know how to take care of their lawn. They're burning their freaking lawn up, right? Mainly because they won't go outside and work. But the facts are, is no matter. My uncle said this to me back in October. I did a little mental health road trip. It was a blessing for me to spend some time with that was my dad's side of my family too. And I'm getting ready to say something very controversial, okay? But I remember him saying, he said, man, you're an S.H.A.P.E. When you walk in the room, the temperature changes. And you know what? He's freaking right.
Yeah.
Right? Now, some people are going to take that as arrogance. Those are people with low self-esteem. But the people who see what I just said as confidence, you should be thinking the same thing about you.
Yep.
Unless you haven't done the work to live up to that. I have. So the grass is always green, wherever I am. That's the facts.
Is it wherever you go, there you are, right? Like you go wherever, you're the common denominator. So it doesn't matter what opportunity you're presented with, what somebody shows you, there is no quick, right? There's no elevator to success. You have to take the stairs. You have to put in the work. And you can jump from one opportunity to the next, to the next, to the next. But if you don't take the time to evaluate you're going to be the same person in every opportunity and you're not going to get the results and you're going to blame the opportunity. And so understand why, right? And that's the last question I want to ask you before we get out of here. Understand why certain things, if you're not having the success or you're not getting where you want to be, like, who do you have to become, right? If you've been who you are, and this is something that I recognized just a few years ago, was that I wasn't necessarily having the success that I wanted to have in business. I'm just like, what am I doing wrong, right? Like I just felt like maybe I just need to work harder.
Right,
but
right.
When it really boiled down to it, it was just like, you need to change, right? It's not the stuff around you. You need to change. You need to develop some better habits, right? I learned about the power of habit and, certain things that I was doing discipline wise that just, I hit the snooze button. I'd roll out of bed. I had no structure to my day, right? Like I didn't have a morning routine, none of that, right? And I'm listening and learning from people who are at that next level, right? Like they're where I want to be. Like, what are they doing differently? And I think that's something that we also have to be conscious of is that you need a mentor, you need a coach, somebody who's where you want to be. And then you need to, right, success leaves clues. So you need to model what you're doing after what you see them doing, right? If you see them getting up early, well, I'm not doing that. Let me start there. Let me start with getting up early. Well, I don't have a morning routine and I'm not exercising. Like, do something different if you want to get a different result. But like, if you take the same you from what got you to where you are to another opportunity or you want to get to another level as the same you, it's not going to work. You're going to get the same results or mediocre results. And you don't recognize that it's you that needs to change, right? Like that's part of
your same work ethic went over there, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah, the common denominator is them.
Very true. Man. And so that was the last question I wanted to ask you, right? Like when do and we can use the example when you left the Navy and decided to go into finance full time, making that shift to decide that you needed to let that go, right? Close that chapter and open or start a new chapter. how did you discern that transition and that being the right move for you at that time?
Many things played a part in that. Part of it was tragedy. My wife and I lost a son 6 months prior to me getting out of the military, right? So I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back, because I wasn't supposed to be in the country. I wasn't supposed to be here when it happened. I was supposed to actually be deployed. So that part helped me make the decision. But also, just wanting, I've said this for 20 years now, 20 plus years. I wanted my freedom. I wanted to do what I want, when I want it, with whomever I want it, and what it costs not matter. Right? But I know as a military guy, freedom's not free. So there was a price that needed to be paid. So I commenced to pay the price. Right? And I think the tough part with most of us is we're constantly negotiating and rationalizing the price instead of just paying it. And here's the bad thing: there's actually no number on the little tag on your drink. I don't know what it's gonna cost you, man. I don't know, right? But here's the deal: if you figure out your shape, if you figure out your value system, you'll figure out what you're willing to pay. Like certain stuff, I'm not willing to pay. Straight up, I'm not willing to pay. Like some people, is your dream for sale? To a degree. Because I'm not going to do anything, everything I have to do, if I'm going to do it, if I'm going to be involved, it has to be legal, ethical, and moral. All three. Like, it's a lot of stuff I could do that's legal, but it's unethical and it's immoral.
Yeah.
Not interested. I've been approached by that stuff, too. Right? And check this out. It's a lot of stuff that's becoming legal. Right? But that don't mean it's ethical and moral. Right? So certain things I just can't be involved in. Those are some things that I'm not willing to pay that price. But all the other stuff, getting up early, like I don't even have to. Yet I get up at 5. My alarm goes off at 5. I'll tell you what I do is my morning routine. So the alarm go up at 5. Unfortunately, I don't go to bed at a good time. So 5 is early. This is what I do. The alarm go off. I turn it off. I lay there and I go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I get up. I grab a bottle of water that's sitting next to my bed. I always make have a water machine. So I fill up that bottle of water and it's next to my bed before I go to bed. So it's the first thing I drink as I get out of bed.
Yeah.
I walk out of my bedroom into our kitchen and I make me a cup of green tea. Why green tea, John, with nothing in it? Why? Because that's my pre-workout for my workout. I go back into my bedroom. By this time, I've finished it. So as I'm filling up the hot water for the green tea, my water machine makes hot water. I'm also filling up that water bottle again because I finished it. I leave the green tea in the kitchen. I go back into my bedroom, walk past my bed on all the other stuff to get to brush my teeth, wash my face, get that crusty stuff out, come back out, throw on my workout gear, head out. And that's how I start my day. But 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's almost like, all right, freaking get up.
Yeah. And I heard somebody say,
I'll end up staying in the bed.
Yeah.
I promise you I will.
I heard somebody say that, like, don't decide how you feel in the morning until you wash your face or until you drink water, right? Or until you use the bathroom, right? Or take a shower.
I think the other thing that helps me with that is the fact that I get up, somebody's waiting for me at the gym. Somebody's working out with me, right? And then we just added another guy. So it's 2 guys waiting for me or that will be there expecting me. And just because of who I am, I got to go.
Yeah.
Right. So when it came to me making that decision, I wanted my freedom. I wanted my freedom to be able to do what I want when I want. I want to be able to, like, last weekend, something was going on in our family with my brother's restaurant. And it was cool that I could, if I wanted to, I could have just made the decision to fly in and be there for a day and come right back. It was pretty cool. And it didn't dawn on me till we were on a text chat thing. And I just glanced over at my wife. We were in the car. And I was like, hey, I'm thinking I might fly to Nebraska this weekend. And she was like, oh. Okay. Right. And then after I told her that, it dawned on me, I can actually do that.
Mm.
And I don't have to ask anybody nothing. I don't have to think about nothing. I don't have to, right. And I don't even have to tell the people who I'm going to go see that I'm coming. That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right. And I just saw something else. Somebody asked, on a text chat thing, right? I got some buddies that we've been buddies for 30 years. We met on our first ship in 1991. And it was cool that yesterday, I think it was day before yesterday, I just shot a text to all of them and it's like, hey, let's meet in Dallas. Right. And it dawned on me, wow. So the rest of them are trying to figure out dates. And I'm like, whatever date y'all decide.
Let me know.
Right. I wanted my freedom. I'm please don't take this as me bragging or something. Right. But I did work hard to get to this place, and I'm still not where I want to be by no stretch of the imagination. But the point is anybody can do this. I'm not somebody special. I'm special in some other senses, right? In my integrity and in my loyalty and stuff like that, right? If people always like, well, nobody's better than another person. No, that's not true. Some of us are better than you. That's just a fact. Look, it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way, but that's the facts. Right? It's some people who better than you, some people who better than me. That's just the fact. Sorry. In some area of your life, right? Otherwise, mentors wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
That's the facts. I know everybody like to say that because it sounds so cool and makes us all inclusive. No, some of us don't deserve to be in the room. You haven't done the work. You haven't proven yourself. Everybody does not deserve respect. They deserve honor because that's what Scripture says. But they don't deserve respect. It's just the facts. Sorry. Right? That's just the deal. Right? But here's the deal. Right? In me making my decision, anybody can make those decisions. It just takes a pivoting, and it's going to cost you something. You just need to know up front it's going to cost you. And are you willing to pay it? That's it. Right? And even if you make some mistakes, you end up discerning the wrong thing. Right? Don't beat yourself up about that too much.
Yeah.
Keep moving. Right?
Just make the correction. Yeah.
Make a U-turn, make the next left. I don't know which one you got to do, but right? Whatever. Don't waddle in that. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. Hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of them. No big deal. So what? You learn from them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully you learn from them.
Hopefully. I was going to say the same thing. Hopefully. All right. Because I shared with a friend of mine, like, I think last year, I learned a combined $12,000 lesson. And that's the way I perceive it, right? She's like, oh my gosh, that's like a lot of money. But like, now I know, right? Like, I don't have to learn a $12,000 lesson like ever again. I know I made some decisions maybe prematurely, or I didn't do what I needed to do to prepare. So now I know that I won't have to make that error again, right? I won't have to learn that lesson again because I don't want to be out another $12,000. And typically, when you got to take the test over, it costs you more. So it's going to be $12,000. It'll be twice that amount. It's a process.
If you do the right thing with that lesson that you learn from that $12,000, it can make you hundreds of thousands.
Absolutely.
All depends on what it was. I don't know what it was, but hey, that was good. That was really good. I'm using that later. I just want you to know. I got to speak on a thing tomorrow, and I got to be at an event tomorrow night. So don't be shocked if you actually hear that somewhere else. Okay.
Hey, it's all good. I borrow a lot of stuff from you, so you have freedom to use. It's recorded, so
I appreciate that.
It's all good.
Well, we definitely have fun getting on here every week.
I do as well, and something actually that I realized today was like in learning about myself, I have to have stimulating conversation, right? Like I need mental stimulation, right? I need conversations that make me think and challenge me and encourage me. And if I don't have that, like I get bored easily, naturally, right?
Yeah.
Like naturally I get bored
Yeah.
easily. And so, in relationships or with other people, right? If I don't have a stimulated, like I'm not gonna really have much to say to you. And so
You
I'd
have,
rather say,
yeah.
say
I'm the
again.
same way.
Yeah. Like I need that in my life, in my relationships with my family, with friends. And like if that part is missing, we probably won't be affiliated with one another. Like we're not even thinking the same way.
My wife
And
talks.
that's discernment as well.
My wife talks about that. She hates surface conversation. She
Yeah.
hates, and so we have this box. Like when we get together with couples and stuff like that, and they come over to the house or we go out to dinner, we take this box with us, right? A lady made it for us, and it has all these questions in it, and it makes the conversation get deep, right? Because we don't like surface crap, right? First of all,
Yeah.
we're introverts. We don't really want to be with you, right? Right? But if we're going to be with you, right, let's have real conversations. Let's create real relationships, not these surface relationships. How you doing, girl? I'm blessed, too blessed to be stressed. You lying, stop. You going through some stuff. You can't get healing. I just sent this to somebody. God can't, never mind, I can't say who I sent it to. But God can't bless who you pretend to be.
Ooh.
He can't bless a fake. So it's important that we just real. Right. And that's I think that's the reason I like getting on here. We can just be real.
Yeah.
We can just be free. So we went way over our time, but hopefully the people got some value out of this. I know I had fun. If nobody ever watched this, I had fun.
Me too. Me too. And hey, if you would like some assistance with discernment in your finances, you can certainly reach out to John or myself. We're both licensed financial professionals. John with over 20 years of experience, very knowledgeable, somebody that I hope, right? Like, John, you planted a seed 12 years ago, almost 13 years ago, that led to this, right?
I know.
Like, you know what I mean? And I'm so appreciative and grateful for that. Right? Like you just never know who you're gonna come across. And I think one of my gifts, if you will, is that I stay open, right? Like I don't know what's for me, but like I stay open. I have a growth mindset to say there's something that I can learn, there's something that I can improve. And I'm so grateful that 13 years ago I was introduced to you by Raul Muntian. I think that was his name.
That's it. Oh my gosh, you
Raul.
remember him.
I do.
Muntian. Yep.
And it changed the course of my family's legacy. Like literally changed the course of my family forever. Right. And that is also part of discernment, right? Finding the people who have the information that you need to get better, right? We can justify, blame, and complain about why we are where we are, or we can do something about it.
Yep.
And doing something about it requires taking action and seeking wise counsel. Is something that you shared with me some years ago, where like you got to seek wise counsel. You can't just ask anybody for help, because if they in the same position you in, how can they advise you about getting better? So seek wise counsel. Find someone who can help you get to where you want to be, and it's got to be somebody who's moving in a different direction, who's doing something different.
Absolutely.
And so that's just all been a blessing to my life. And so, hey, this guy knows his stuff. He's just right. And what I appreciated most was that you were willing to be honest, right? Blatantly honest, or what's that term? You
brutally honest. I wasn't
brutally honest, right? Right, but I didn't take offense, right? Like I didn't know what I didn't know, so like there's no need to be ashamed of that.
Right.
Make the shift, make the transition, and I'm so glad that I did.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to be ignorant in some areas. You're right. The problem is if you're stupid, right? Ignorance just means you don't know. You didn't know no better, right? But when you know better and you still do wrong, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, scripture talks about that too. Yeah, scripture actually has the word stupid in it. Fool, that word is in there too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
No.
Let's get off.
No. That's good. I remember my brother called me. My brother called me stupid one time, and I was just like, "What?" And he's like, "Wait a minute, you got to understand, I'm coming from a place of love, but what you're doing is stupid. And based on what you've been taught, you should be doing right. You should be making different decisions, right? You shouldn't be falling in." So I didn't like the way it sounded, but I had to accept that it was right, right? And the fact that he loved me enough to be honest with me about the decisions that I was making. And I was receptive enough to make the change, right? To pivot. So yeah, I don't want people around me just gonna lie to me and make me just feel good and what is it? Promote me or
boost you up.
Yeah. I don't need that because it's not helping me. And I love being associated with people who both challenge and encourage me and, are a little further down the path than I am myself so that I have that guiding light, right? Like, all right, I'm moving in the right direction. I'm doing some things right? There's still a lot of work I got to do, but I at least am moving in the right direction and getting closer to where I want to be. And hopefully I'm getting better along the way, right? Like as I get better, I do better, I make better decisions. And I feel better as I do it, so I want to keep myself in those environments that facilitate and foster that growth. And that's important in discernment as well. So hopefully you got some value out of our conversation tonight. We're really excited for those that had the opportunity to join us. And hey, stay tuned. We'll be here next week. I don't know what the topic's going to be. We'll come up with it and,
we'll figure
it out. But our intention is, of course, to add value, to help people move forward, to help you get better. And we may not be miles down the road. We might just be a few steps ahead. But seeking out that wise counsel that can help you take the next step and, shift directions, I think is certainly important in discernment and finding people that you can trust, right? To help you know what questions to ask and help you figure out where to start in terms of your finances. Certainly what we enjoy doing, right? Outside of just having these conversations, we can help you practically move in a better direction financially. So, click the link or type it into your web browser and set up a complimentary consultation with John or myself to help you move forward and take the next step. And we certainly appreciate you all being with us. Any final words, John?
Nope. Go out there and help somebody.
Sounds good. We'll end on that. All right, y'all have a great night, and we'll see you next week.